Hello everyone. In this module, we are going to learn about how to create a feedback form in Django, and following are the topics that we are going to discuss. Firstly, we will understand what is Django form. After that, we will learn the workflow of the Django form. Then we will learn how to create a Django form, and after that we will see some fields available in Django form with an example. So let's begin with understanding what is Django form. In general, forms are a common way for modern application to collect the data from their user, and these forms could be used to register for anything, log into an application, or even to collect the information for a survey. So we can say that a user forms are the essential component of every application, and generally a simple HTML is used to present these forms, and JavaScript and CSS can be used to style them. Fortunately, the Django framework offers forms that simplify the process and save the developer time to start from zero when constructing a form. We will understand what is term form represent. In simple terms, a form is a window or a screen with lot of fields or a place where you may enter your data, and every field on the form has a field label so that any user who views this get an idea of its content. So let's understand the workflow of the Django form. So here you can see that when a user first time requests a form, it displays the default form. So with this I mean that when we are establishing a new record, the form may include the blank field or it may be the pre-filled with an initial value. So here you can see that I request a page with the form. Then if it is a first request to URL, it creates an empty form or going for the validation. So at this point, the form is referred to as unbounded because it is not connected to any user entered information. After that, we will go to the validation of a data. Validation of a data checks that value are appropriate for the field or not. For example, the length of a data is not too long or a short. Suppose we make a field with the name, first name of the user, and we make some restriction on that the maximum length of the name may not exceed the 200 words. So at that point it checks the validation. Then it checks if data is invalid or not. So if data is invalid, it redisplay the form with the user enter value and error. Here you can see that if data is not valid, it creates a form with an error. And then we will move to the form for updation of the data. And if the data is valid, we perform the desired operations or redirect to the successful URL page. So once the action is completed, we finally redirect to the another page which user desired. So now we will learn how to create a form. To generate HTML forms, Django provides the form class. It describes the form's functionality, appearance, and how it works also. And each field of this form class maps to the HTML form input element, or we can say that the input tag, and each one is a class itself. And the form class also manages form data and provides validation when submitting the form. And the syntax for creating the form is from Django import forms. This is the library which we import. After that we have to mention a class keyword. Then we have to pass the name of the class, and in parenthesis we have to specify forms.form, which is a class of the form, and we have to write this code in the forms.py file. And by default the forms.py file is not created. So firstly we have to create this file in our app directory. So now we will move ahead and learn some commonly used Django form fields. So the first field is the character field. So the class is used for it is class character field, and in parenthesis we pass different keyword arguments as per our requirement. And as a HTML, it works as a text input. The next field was a email field, and the class for this is class email field, and we pass different keyword argument to it also. And in HTML, it work as a email input. Then we have a password field and the class is class password field. And in HTML, it behaves as a password input. Then we have an integer field. The class for this field is class integer field and it is behave in HTML as a number input. Then we have a decimal field which take the number as a decimal form and we use the class for it is class decimal field and it also behave in HTML as a number input. Then we have a date field which takes only the date and the class for it is class date field and in HTML it generates a date input. Then we have a datetime field and the class for this field is class datetime field and in HTML it generates a datetime input. With datetime field we have an option to set both date and time. Then we have a boolean field and the class for this field is class boolean field and in HTML it creates a checkbox input. Then we have a choice field and the class for this field is class choice field and in HTML it creates a select option. Then we have a file field and the class for this field is class file field and in HTML it generates a clearable file input, which means it creates an option to add files with PDF, MP4, docs, Excel format, or in simple words we can say that it takes a file without image field extension. Then we have an image field. The class for this field is class image field and in HTML it also generates a clearable file input. So now we will see an example in which we will use these fields. So now we will create a feedback form in the Django and for this I create a project with the name feedback system and an app with the feedback app name. So for creating a project I use the command Django -admin start project and the name of my project as a feedback system. And for creating the app I use the command Python manage.py start app and as a name of the app I pass a feedback app name. After that I open the settings.py file located inside the project directory, which means inside the feedback system directory. So I open this setting file first, then I add the name of my app in the installed app list. So I add the name feedback app. Then we have to create a form. So for this, as I told you, we have to create the forms.py file first. So I create a file with the names forms.py inside the feedback app, or you can say that the inside your app directory. Then I add a code to create a form. So I explain you this code line by line. So firstly I import the library as I told you from Django import forms. Then I create a class with the name course feedback and I pass a class name forms.form. Then we have to mention the field which we want to add on the form for the user input. So I mention my field as a first name. Then I initialize a value to it as forms.character field. As I told you, the syntax of creating the class field is class.character field and here our class is forms. So we write as forms.character field. Then I pass a keyword argument label to it. So let's understand what this label means. The label is used to change the display name of the field. By this I mean that instead of this first name, like in small alphabet without any space, it represents the name as a first space name. Then I create another field with the name last name and this field is also as a character field. And I also pass a label keyword argument to it and set its value to last name. Then I create a field for entering the email. So I create a field with the name email and I assign value as a forms.email field. Then I want to create a field with the name mobile. So I create a field forms.integer field. As you all know that the mobile number is in the digit forms, or we can say that the integer form. So I create a field with the integer field class to enter the user mobile number. Then I create a field with the name topic and I assign it as a choice field, and I pass a keyword to it as a choices, and I assign a value of the keyword choices to it. So for this we have to create a variable, or we can say that we have to create a tuple with the name of the keyword choices. So I create the above, and here I mention some topics name like basic Python, Matplotlib, Django, Pandas and NumPy. And I also assign here the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these topics are visible in this preceding form. Then I create a field with the name description and I use the class as forms.character field. And in parenthesis, I pass a keyword argument widget equals to forms.text area. I use this widget equals to form.text area because by default the forms doesn't have any field for the text area. So for this we have to use the forms.text area field in the widget. Then I want to attach a file. For this I create attachment variable and I assign forms.file field class to it. So by this field a user are able to enter or attach a file with the extension PDF, docs, Excel, PPT, MP4, etc. Then I create one more field with the name screenshot, and here I call the class forms.image field. So with this user are able to enter or attach the image files only. Then I create a field with the name rating and I assign as forms.decimal field. So here I use the decimal field because maybe someone gives the rating as 2.3, 4.3 in this way. So we need a decimal field for this. Then I create a field with the name date. So this field is assigned as forms.date field, and this field is used to enter the day that user is sending in their feedback. Then I create a field with the name place and I assign as forms.character field. It is also a character field and it is used to enter the location from where the user is providing the feedback. And in last I create a field with the name satisfy, and I use the boolean field class for this. So I write as forms.boolean field and I also pass a label. So it print as are you sure to submit? So it is a boolean field that is used to confirm you want to submit this form or want to update anything. So this is how we create a form and mentions the field. This is only the process of creating the form. So if you run your server, it will not show you any output as it is only the process of creating the form. So in the next module, we will learn the processing, the submission of forms.